Okay, so my therapist suggested that I listen to more Tupac on purpose, like listen to it and get back to, my thing. And she's the first person that asked me, like, why at such a young age were you such a big Tupac fan? Like, what was it about him? And that's the first time anybody ever asked that question, and I didn't have an answer. But like 2 days ago, I shared the rose that grew from concrete on my Facebook page, and I said, I am that rose that grew from concrete. And it says, did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. And so being who I am, I had to dissect that apart, and I had to think about when I shared it, I am that rose that grew from the concrete, but it wasn't by accident. Like, it wasn't an accident. And I don't know if you know anything about concrete, but it's supposed to be once you lay it, it's supposed to be non-penetratable. Like, you're not supposed to be able to penetrate it. But up under that, it has to be, the concrete has to be mixed and but there has to be, some kind of foundation. And how did the rose get under concrete? We were buried, not just by the concrete, but by the dirt, and by happenstance, and by race, and by gender, and by financial situations, by trauma, by life. And being under the concrete and then growing up, growing out of it, like Tupac said, it defies nature, like it walks and it breathes air, even though it wasn't on, the most favorable conditions and foundations. And I was taking a bath earlier, and I was thinking about that, and it was quiet, and I normally never take a quiet bath, but I had to be rushed too. And so I told the little one, Carrie Tan, as I began to fill the tub with the, the things that I like, the bubbles, when she was putting the Epsom salt in, she was sprinkling it. I said, why are you putting it in like chicken feet? Carrie Tan. And as I began to get in the water, I asked her, I said, bring me a rose. What are you doing? Come on. And she, hurry up, put the little thing in the ponytail, hurry up. This is how you know it's spontaneous and it's not scripted. So I asked her, I said, grab me a rose. Which rose did you grab? You grabbed one of these. This was some roses that my daughter had bought me before we went out of town for her to visit a college. So I told her, I said, give me a rose and put it in the tub. So take the rose and put it in the water.
A rose.
Just put it in the water how you did it and as I was taking a bath. And what she didn't know was that I had already had a rose that I used the night before that I let dry, because I didn't want it to go down the drain, because as a homeowner, if it gets stopped up, that's on me. So I'm thinking, when she put it in there, I decided to add the other rose in there, and they were from the same bouquet. And if you look at it, you can't tell which rose went with what. Like, was it my rose or was it her rose? And some of the pieces, even though they came from the same bouquet, some of them are darker than the others. And some of them are a little torn. And some of them are ugly. Some of them are bruised. Some of them are withered. But stop it! God damn it. Some of them have children. And I looked at it, and there's no way that I can put this rose back together to make it a rose. And although it's still a rose and it still has value, even though it's not as appealing as one of the fresher roses. I looked at it and I said that, well, maybe each one of these roses, with these rose petals, could represent a year in my life, different times, where some of the petals are a little rougher than the others, and some of them aren't. But then it could also represent the lining of the womb that was shed on the times that I didn't carry life. And even still, some of the rose petals look differently. And I'm sure that if you scan the body, it looks differently every year, after 12 months or, whatever, of shedding. But this rose is Tupac's rose that grew from the concrete, but it also had to survive the storms and all of the traumatic things that happened to even be valued as being pretty, because nobody wants these. Like sometimes, yeah, we do want the rose petals sprinkled out in front of us. When we came back from Nashville, all of these rose petals was all over the car, all over the floor. And I was like, it looks like Zamunda in here. I can't take it. Now, I don't have a terrific green thumb, but I was told that the white rose is harder to grow than the red rose. And white, of course, we think of purity when we think of white. So that would be harder to grow, especially on concrete, because if you have to grow a white rose in the specific area under specific conditions, then of course it's harder. It's not had to go through life's trials and tribulations, and it didn't have to come up through concrete, and it didn't have to come up through all of the dirt that's been thrown, all of the mud that's been on, the dark nights, the things that they thought they were burying you with, or burying, you're throwing dirt on your name and all that stuff, but they didn't realize that that same dirt, that same soil, those same circumstances will still grow the same beautiful rose as if you put it out somewhere like the white one. Now, I didn't know the white one would fall apart. These roses are the same, but I guess this one would have to be a little more tougher than that one. Even, so that's melanin in that one. And so, this only made me want to dig further into the rose that grew from concrete. And I've heard the stories where they say, the speculations about what he was writing about in there. And I like to think that that rose that grew from concrete actually was me, because I had to understand, I had to read something, I had to see something that know that even though you've been through all of that, you can still be that same rose, and you can defy gravity, and with your dreams you can breathe fresh air. So there was a message in the rose that grew from concrete that Pac had all those years ago that's even more relevant in 2024, going through all of that, and just being able to see, because even as I was in the tub and I was trying to pick them up, I realized I couldn't grab them all in like one swoop and just put them together. So I had to gently pick them up, and I looked at them and I studied them, and it made me think like, it's like the I would think like the raindrops. No two rose petals are alike. They are not they are all unique. They are not similar in any way. Like there is no way that I can tell which rose pieces came, because it was the same bouquet of roses that she got this one from, that I got mine from the previous night, which are older than these, and it still had value. Like it's still beautiful. It still holds its same trauma, its same stories, and it's still, to me, you can't tell the rose that grew from concrete from the rose that grew in the in the favorable conditions under the light and watered every day. So why can't I defy gravity? Why can't you? Who was he talking about in the? And it doesn't just have to be relatable for it to relate, if that makes sense, because before, I'm like, I don't know shit about roses. I can't grow no rose. I get them, they die. I just toss them out. This should have been gone like when it died, because I don't know what to do with it after that. But I've learned, of the other uses for them once they start to dry out, and the different things you can do with them, and the benefits it provides. So the rose from concrete, before, it never really, I saw myself in it, but I wasn't able to relate until after I seen the rose petals that grew from the rose that grew from concrete. And I realized that I literally am the rose that grew from concrete. So when I raise my roses, they can be raised in a more favorable, more solidified, a more calmer environment instead of concrete. And that's breaking generational curses that Tupac said, if he could spark the mind of somebody that's going to change the world. He sparked my mind. I raised them different. They didn't grow from concrete. They're going to change the world. It comes full circle.